Trump has said, whether you agree with him or not, he has said, as President of the United States, we will not touch Social Security. How many times have you heard him say it? We will not touch Medicare. How many times have you heard him say it? Now, these programs are going to have to be reformed if they survive, but not by him, because he's made it clear, no. And you know what? I get it. He is doing so much all at once. He can't do everything, even though he's coming pretty damn close. It was a real mix of brilliance. The speech was beautiful, especially at the end when Donald Trump's talking about our history. He's going through the things that he's done. He's going through the things that he's going to do. He treated the Democrats the way they needed to be treated, given the way they were treating him and had been treating him up to that point. They look like a Roman circus. They look like a bunch of clowns. I was waiting for the juggler to come out and the belly dancer to come out, and perform for us. Instead, they sent us Al Green, and I'll get to him in a minute. Staying there with their stupid little signs, like they're third graders. False, Musk must go. Are you kidding me? They did themselves no good, which is fine by me. But Trump's speech was substantive. It was gripping and intriguing. There were historic points that he made. He made it clear what he intends to do, his economic policies, his foreign policies. He reached out to middle America. He reached out to blue-collar America. He reached out to all Americans. He was in a very comfortable mood, a very positive mood. He assigned blame to the Democrats for what they did on the border, what they did to the economy. I just thought it was exceptional. I've watched these speeches before, and you know what else I saw? The Republicans in that room, sitting in that gallery in the House of Representatives there. They were excited. They were happy. They had a smile on their faces. They were motivated. I haven't seen that in a long, long time. I was invited by the speaker to attend the event, but I wanted to do my radio show. Maybe next year I will attend. But I wanted to convey some thoughts during my radio show before that speech. But I thought that's a historic speech. Now, of course, for the Democrats in the media, it was very partisan. We hear that at CNN and MSNBC. For those of you who care, and the vast majority of America care less what they think. Very partisan, very one-sided. Oh yeah, that Joe Biden, he was really Aristotle up there, wasn't he? No, I don't think so. But these speeches have become partisan. I think what I regret, and the Democrats have done this mostly since Pelosi ripped up her speech, is the complete lack of respect for the institution. You don't act like a jackass, do it outside the chambers. But they don't care about these institutions. They burn them down one after the other, and they want to burn down more, whether it's the Electoral College, the independence of the Supreme Court, the border, the rule of law in our cities, the Constitution. They're in the business of burning things down. They are political arsonists. So here is this guy, Al Green, who is continually filing impeachment clauses against Republican presidents. He did it against Bush. He did it against Trump in the first term. He's already prepared one or preparing one against Trump again. This guy's a fool. He's a buffoon. And yet there he is. He's elected each and every time. He's free to be a fool and a buffoon, but he's not free to disrupt a speech by the President of the United States in front of the nation and in front of the House. But he's not free to disrupt a speech by the President of the United States to the nation and to all the members of Congress. Can you imagine if everybody did what he did? He's a kook. Let's take a quick look at this. Cut 7. Go.
And I was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. I have people who are very fearful. These are poor people, and they have only Medicaid in their lives when it comes to their health care.
So let's stop there. The Republicans do not want to cut Medicaid to poor people. The Republicans want able-bodied young men and women who can work to get off Medicaid. Number one, it's not for them. Number two, they want illegal immigrants off Medicaid. It's not for them. This drains the resources from Medicaid. Number three, There's been a spike of people on Medicaid since the pandemic. That is, people who have gotten used to Medicaid, who are taking government Medicaid, who refuse to get off. And so they're saying there needs to be a work provision for people so they can get a job, or at least show that they've attempted to get a job. So the Democrats are saying this, cutting Medicaid. Now, technically speaking, in the budget proposal that was passed by the House and sent to the Senate, there are no cuts in Medicaid, but the Republicans have told the committee chairman, I believe it's the House Energy and Commerce Committee, one of the alphabet soups, is here's your budget cap, see what you can do to come under it, what you're going to cut. Now, among the multiple programs and agencies that come under that committee, Medicaid is one of them. So the Democrats are saying this is what the Republicans want to do. I hope it is what they want to do. So it's not a matter of cutting poor people off Medicaid. It's a matter of removing people who shouldn't be on it. It's a matter of able-bodied people who are not seeking jobs getting off of it. So the program can survive. So it can survive. Go.
And I want him to know that his budget calls for deep cuts in Medicaid.
So this is the propaganda. Just remember, whenever a Democrat opens their mouth, they're lying or they want a free lunch. It's one or the other. This guy's one of the biggest, so that's his propaganda. But whatever he thinks, if he thinks the moon's made out of cheese, there's a time and place for everything. And that was not the time and place, and he knew it. And he knew he'd be thrown out. And so there's the media running to him, interviewing him. Now, what ought to happen to him is he should be censured. It's my understanding some want to censure him. He should be censured for what he did. If it were me, he should be expelled, to be perfectly honest. You know, at some point, you got to put an end to this stuff. You got to put an end to it. I mean, we have Marxists in the House now. We have Islamists in the House now. We have people who kiss the butt of terrorist organizations in the House now. This is wrong. This is wrong. Go ahead.
He needs to save Medicaid, protect it. We need to raise the cap on Social Security. There's a possibility that it's going to be hurt. And we've got to protect Medicare. These are the safety net programs that people in my congressional district depend on. And this president seems to care less about...
Trump has said, whether you agree with them or not, he has said, as President of the United States, we will not touch Social Security. How many times have you heard him say it? We will not touch Medicare. How many times have you heard him say it? Now, these programs are going to have to be reformed if they survive, but not by him, because he's made it clear, no. And you know what? I get it. He is doing so much all at once, so much all at once. He can't do everything, even though he's coming pretty damn close. Pretty damn close. Look, he's going to cut half the IRS. That's incredible. In my lifetime, I never thought anybody would do that. Anybody. I've always said the federal income tax, what a disaster. There are other ways to raise revenue, not necessarily tariffs or just tariffs. There are other ways to raise revenue too. But the income tax is a brutal tax on productivity and on growth and on job creation. I'm not going to get into that right now, but it doesn't bother me that the IRS has cut. You know, the other thing here, I just want you to keep something in mind. During 2020, a horrendous year, we had millions of people lost their jobs. Tens of thousands of businesses were shuttered. Malls were closed. They've never recovered. They've never recovered. In fact, many businesses have never recovered. What were we told at the time? What were we told by Washington, by the so-called medical experts, the so-called scientific experts? What were we told by politicians like him? It was righteous. It was patriotic to lose your job, to close your business. It's hard to forget Nancy Pelosi strolling into that hair parlor or whatever they call it. That was closed, but she had it open specifically for her, remember? And she went in there to get her hair done or to have her wig done or whatever the hell she was doing or have her face puffed up. I don't know, but she went in. You remember that? And the owner took a video of it, and boy, did they go after that owner. But the owner was going broke. But she had opened her doors for the Speaker of the House. Remember the governor of California going to a swanky restaurant while closing beaches? Remember all that? So it was okay to shutter businesses, to lose jobs, and on and on and on, in the name of the pandemic and at the direction of Fauci and his ilk. These iron-fisted totalitarian blue state governors and some red state governors. Remember all that? Don't go to church. Don't go to synagogue. Although you could go to the ABC store because they're state-owned and they needed the resource. Remember that? Crazy. Couldn't even go to drive-in theaters, the few that still exist. Crazy. They had complete control over us. How quickly our civil liberties meant nothing, washed away by a health emergency. We now know the 6-foot rule had no scientific basis whatsoever. We now know that masking, at least for young people, had no scientific basis whatsoever. And more recent reports say it had no basis at all. Okay, we can get into that another day. But my point is, he wants you to have sympathy for the fact that for the first time since Woodrow Wilson, the federal government is being cut in a significant way. Yes, people are losing their jobs. It's the only way to manage 2.4 or 5 million people. This bloat that's added on to every year, every election, on and on and on. We're supposed to be crying over this? This is what the private sector has to face every day. This is what businesses face every day. How many people in the private sector have lost their job today? Do we know? No, they don't keep track of it. I can tell you how many people are going to be let go at the IRS. So we know that. But how many people are going to lose their jobs today? How many people are going to lose their jobs because of government regulations and taxation? Does anybody care? He doesn't. Go ahead.
Them and more about the number of people that he can remove from the various programs that have been so helpful to so many people. It is the best way to get it across to a person who uses his incivility, against our civility.
Look how they give this guy a platform. I don't even want to see him anymore.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.